A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Welcome to another edition of Bearing Arms Cam & Company. My name is Cam Edwards. I'm so glad you're with us on the program. Got a lot to talk about today. President Joe Biden welcoming a rogues gallery of anti-gun politicians to the White House today, including New York mayoral candidate Eric Adams, the guy who won the Democratic nomination for mayor. San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo invited as well, the mayor who came up with the idea of charging a fee and mandating insurance for every legal gun owner in San Jose. Yeah, this is the guy that the type of guy that Joe Biden is embracing and welcoming into the White House today. Kind of makes you ask, right? Do you miss President Trump? A lot of people do. Well, I'm coming to you with a special offer that you do not want to miss. Now's your chance to win one of 6 signed photos of President Trump. These were hand-signed by President Trump, and soon one could be hanging up in your house when President Trump signed these photos. He wanted to make sure that all of his supporters had the chance to receive one, and now's your chance. All you have to do is text CAM, that's C-A-M, to 55404 today for your chance to win a beautiful photo of President Trump, First Lady Melania Trump as well, hand-signed by President Trump himself by texting CAM, again, that's C-A-M, to 55404 right now. You will get exclusive double entry activated for a limited time. Again, text CAM to 55404 to have your name entered twice to win a hand-signed Trump photo. You don't want to miss this. The contest ends soon, paid for by the National Republican Senatorial Committee. So while Joe Biden's hanging out with anti-gun activists at the White House, the LA Times actually has the story of a California politician, unlike Sam Liccardo, who's actually shifting to the right. Yeah, this is really interesting here. Talking about LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva running against the woke left. Can Sheriff Villanueva's shift to the right work in Los Angeles? By the way, that line about running against the woke left, that actually comes from one of the sheriff's campaign confidants. So, yeah, he actually is trying to do this. LA Times reports that Alex Villanueva has appeared on Fox News to dismiss the notion of widespread police brutality and regular social media broadcasts, to taking on a Trump-like demeanor, calling his critics trolls and out-of-touch elites. In his news conferences have featured conservative politicians and personalities. He's reveled in publicly rebuking local elected Democrats, including the mayor of Los Angeles, for what he sees as their inept handling of the city's homelessness crisis. And he eagerly joined the campaign to kick the county's ultra-progressive district attorney out of office. And in a move that is more NRA than ACLU, Villanueva has made it a mission to dramatically increase the number of people in Los Angeles County permitted to carry concealed guns. Now, let's not go overboard here in terms of what Alex Villanueva is doing. I'm glad to see that he wants more people carrying concealed in Los Angeles, but when we start to crack down the numbers, yeah, it's not exactly an embrace of constitutional carry or things of that nature. No. Javier Gonzalez, campaign consultant for Alex Villanueva, says, quote, "We're running against the woke left, and we're going to win." He says it's going to be a revolt of the regular people who want things done. Okay, sheriff's on the ballot next year. And it is interesting. I mean, I will give the Los Angeles Times credit. It is interesting that a Democrat in one of the most left-leaning states, in one of the most left-leaning counties of one of the most left-leaning states, is running for re-election against the woke left. I mean, if you needed any more evidence that the defund the police movement is now something that Democrats are running from instead of embracing as they were last year, Alex Villanueva is a pretty good example of this. Now, the LA Times story does focus a little bit on Villanueva's push for more concealed carry licensing. Check this out. The sheriff's determined effort to push through a 5-fold increase in the number of concealed weapons permits issued in the county has confounded one-time supporters. Previous sheriffs issued few of the permits, which are meant primarily for people who face clear dangers to their safety. Saying those before him kept the bar to receive them too high, Villanueva says more people carrying concealed handguns will be an effective countermeasure in rising crime and efforts on the left to reduce police funding. Okay, again, I don't disagree with what Alex Villanueva is saying. But even a five-fold increase in the number of concealed carry licenses in Los Angeles is a drop in the bucket and nowhere close to what the numbers should be if LA County had, for example, a shall issue system where if you met the statutory requirements, you had your training, you got your license, we wouldn't be talking about a five-fold increase. We'd be talking about like a 500-fold increase in the number of concealed carry licenses. Villanueva said, quote, because we have less cops on the streets, more crooks, less consequences. What could go wrong with that combination, right? We're recognizing that the threat to the residents is increasing, so we're responding accordingly. Well, again, not really. Because if the threat to the average resident is increasing, then that tells me that the average resident of Los Angeles County should be able to get a carry license. And that's simply not the case. As of April, Villanueva said, quote, we have now issued more CCWs than the last three sheriffs combined. And the number of permits that he had issued or was close to issuing stood at 920. 920 in a county of about 10 million people. Now, I'm not suggesting that if LA County switched to a shall issue system, that 50% of the county would suddenly apply for their concealed carry license. But look at what happened in the state of Indiana when on July 1st, the state said, hey, you know what? We're dropping the fees. No more fees. If you want to apply for your lifetime concealed carry permit, all you got to do is go online. You're still going to have to pay a third party for fingerprinting costs, but the state's not going to charge you a fee. In the first week that the new law was in effect, more than 15,000 Hoosiers applied for their concealed carry license. Now, this is a state that has had shall issue concealed carry for decades. So there are already plenty of folks in Indiana who are carrying. But when that fee was removed, 15,000 applicants in the first week in Indiana. 920 total concealed carry licenses in LA County, home again to about 10 million people. So there's no doubt that Alex Villanueva is running to the right. And he is saying a lot of things that I agree with, but actions speak louder than words, Sheriff. And if the average citizen in LA is now facing an increased danger because of violent crime, then the average citizen in Los Angeles should be able to obtain a concealed carry license. 920 licenses? That's not even a good start. I mean, I wish I could say it's a good start. It's better. It's, as he said, more concealed carry licenses than the last three sheriffs combined, which should tell you how bad it is in Los Angeles County. But that's a really low bar to be better than what it's been. And Sheriff Villanueva, you still have a long way to go, sir, before things are where they should be in Los Angeles County in terms of the recognition of the right to keep and bear arms. Now, again, granted, this is LA we're talking about here. Sheriff Villanueva is running for re-election. He wants to get re-elected. So there is probably only so far to the right that he can shift. But I still am not convinced that this is anything other than a political ploy. Because if there were principles involved here, Sheriff Villanueva really does believe that the danger has increased for the average Los Angelino, then the average Los Angelino must be able to exercise their right to both keep and bear arms. And a 5-fold increase in the number of concealed carry licenses, again, it's better, but it's not good enough. We got a long way to go. All right, turning our attention from the left coast to today's armed citizen story, our good deed of the day, and our recidivist report. That takes us to Georgia. You may remember this story of a golf pro who was shot and killed on a golf course in Cobb County next to a pickup truck, which had the bodies of two other men inside. Police did make an arrest in this case a couple of days ago, and there are a lot of questions now about the suspect in this case, and frankly, why he was out on the street to begin with. Brian Roden is the guy's name. Here's the headline from Channel 11 in Atlanta. Look at the Cobb County triple homicide suspect's criminal history, music career, and $27,000 PPP loan. Yeah. How about that? Channel 11 in Atlanta says the Cobb County Police warrants describing what happened don't give a reason for the homicides, but they do give out the circumstances. The two victims found in the bed of that truck, Paul Pearson and Henry Valdez, bound and gagged before they were shot. The golf pro who was shot on the scene, Gene Siller, allegedly shot at point-blank range. Brian Roden, born in 1997, no idea how well he knew, if at all, he knew the two victims found in the back of the truck. Police report that Roden did have prior arrests, including hours after the homicides, where he was arrested for a DUI in Chamblee, Georgia. Records also show that last year he was arrested in Indiana for driving 100 miles an hour. He was arrested in 2016 in Fulton County, allegedly for a drug deal gone wrong on the campus at Georgia State University. And he was charged with attempted murder at the time. But the case apparently was dismissed outright in 2017, which has a lot of people wondering, okay, what happened? The DA at the time, no longer the district attorney there in Fulton County, and I don't believe that the former DA has actually said why that case was actually dismissed. Meanwhile, Roden received $27,000 in PPP money just months before he was arrested. He applied for the Paycheck Protection Program, was approved for $27,595 this March, and apparently this was for his music career. Yeah. Thousands of fans on Instagram. On his page, he advertised shows that he was scheduled to perform this weekend. And it looks like that didn't come off at all. But again, a lot of questions surrounding the suspect here, Brian Roden, and why, if nothing else, why he wasn't actually, brought to trial on those charges of attempted murder that he was arrested on back in 2017. Now, today's armed citizen story from Orlando, Florida. There's the headline: shirtless burglar barking at dogs before breaking into an Orlando home. 53-year-old David Havens is alive, being held on $5,000 bond. He was shot in a home invasion last week, though. The homeowner's daughter talking about it with News 6 in Orlando, as well as talking to police. In an arrest report, the teenage daughter of the homeowner said that she was made aware of David Havens trying to break in after she heard him barking at her dog. She looked outside and saw this shirtless dude in her yard. She then called 911 as Havens was jiggling the door handle trying to get into the house. She hung up the phone with police dispatch. She called her mom, was instructed to hide in the bathroom by her mom. Police say moments later they arrived on scene and heard a gunshot. Turns out it was the homeowner's boyfriend who had picked up the homeowner, also the teenage girl's mom, from a walk after she got a call from her teen. So, mom's hurrying home as quickly as possible. They get there before police arrive. They see this guy inside. Havens apparently found lying on the floor with a gunshot wound after the homeowner's boyfriend discharged his firearm. One neighbor noted before the break-in that Havens was near another home and threw a number of items, including a child's scooter, across the lawn before taking off his shirt and then approaching the home that he broke into. Police in their report note that another neighbor tried to confront Havens and heard the homeowner's boyfriend verbally warn Havens to leave before shooting. Havens is still recovering in the hospital after being shot, being held on a $5,000 bond, so likely will get out not long after he is released from the hospital there. The homeowner's boyfriend not facing any charges at the moment, and I would imagine will not be facing any charges. Seemed like this was a case of self-defense and defense of others there in Orlando, Florida as well. Finally today, our good deed of the day. Now, ordinarily, our good deed of the day is, generally speaking, a police officer in the right place at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. In this case, I think the officer was both the cause and effect of the good deed. Yes, a police officer in Ohio pulled over a guy for speeding. This was a Ohio State Patrol officer. This was last week. Trooper Hoskin from the Ohio State Patrol Ravenna Post pulls over this 24-year-old suspect after speeding by his vehicle in Portage County. So he stops the car, gets out, starts talking to the driver, and says, "Where are you going in such a hurry?" And then you hear Hoskins asking, "Are you okay? You all right? Can you breathe?" And then he says, "Okay, get out of the car." The suspect ends up standing behind the vehicle. You can see here the screen capture from the dash video. And there's Trooper Hoskin. There's the 24-year-old that he's pulled over. And this is not Officer Hoskin getting rough with the suspect. This is Officer Hoskin performing the Heimlich on that driver. Several times he had to do this before an object became dislodged from the man's mouth and fell to the ground. Turns out it was a baggie of pot that the driver had tried to swallow, right? When he was pulled over for speeding. As the man sits on the ground after the close call, Hoskin informs the man that an ambulance is on his way. He says, "We got an ambulance coming just to check you out, make sure everything's good. Do you want to die over a minor misdemeanor?" Because that's apparently what it would have been. It's not like the guy had, 3 pounds of marijuana, which, by the way, I don't think you could eat anyway. But just a baggie of pot and got stuck. Yeah. Man reportedly cited for speeding, failing to wear a seatbelt. And yes, he was issued a misdemeanor citation for marijuana. Ohio State Patrol said in a post on Twitter, "Don't try to swallow a bag of drugs prior to getting pulled over in an attempt to keep a trooper from finding them." Or if you do, I guess, hope and pray that the trooper in question knows the Heimlich maneuver. Glad the speeder is going to be okay. Don't eat drugs, kids. I think that's the moral of the story here. And Trooper Hoskin in the right place at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. We thank you for your very good deed. And I thank you for tuning in once again. Don't forget, you can become a VIP subscriber to Bearing Arms. All you have to do is go to bearingarms.com/subscribe. Use the promo code GUNS. Get 25% off of your VIP membership. Not only will you get exclusive analysis and commentary, but you will help support programs like this each and every day, bringing you the latest second news and information from all across the nation. We'll do it again tomorrow. But until then, be well, be safe, and be free.